Marcy, do you want to share some thoughts about the effectiveness of all this bulk data collection? Why do it? Why go to all this trouble? Why have all these histrionics if it doesn't work so great?
Well, I mean, I think Bill's already addressed this, but a big part of the story of Bill Binney and the other NSA whistleblowers, okay, eventually it ended up with Edward Snowden exposing everything. But it started partly from a protection of our own privacy, but partly because SAIC, a giant defense contractor, was in bed with Michael Hayden, and Michael Hayden said, there's a good solution over here that protects privacy, which is what Bill had worked on, and then there's a terrible solution that doesn't work over here that will make SAIC rich. And did you just tell me it's 3 orders of magnitude more expensive to do what SAIC got? So one of the things that's really driving all of this expansive surveillance is that people are getting rich off of it. And the people who are getting rich off of it are the ones setting the policy decisions. They're the ones paying Richard Burr and Mitch McConnell to run for Senate. And they're the ones who are the ones pushing for war. And so it's this feedback loop that says more, 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 more. And they don't care necessarily if they prevent war. They care if they keep getting their bills paid. They care if they keep making profit. And so you got to take the profit out of a lot of this to have people make more sound decisions about what you really need and what. I mean, the other thing is that should we be doing bulk data collection on Americans, or should we stop pissing off local communities so that if somebody starts talking to terrorists among their community, they'll feel comfortable calling the FBI? They won't now because their sons are getting arrested and sent to prison forever, even if they're just trying to intervene with their sons. But so instead of doing that, the government has decided to just collect data on everybody, not know how to read it, not know how to interpret it. It's not helping anybody, except for SAIC.
Actually, it's making us more vulnerable to.
You went to work every day. You went to work every day for 30 years there.
Well, we referred to it as no such agency because even Congress members didn't even know we existed. I mean, Jim Bamford was talking about to one of the members of Congress in the early '80s when he was writing his first book about NSA, and he said something to the effect of, "Well, what are you doing with NSA?" And the congressman said, "What's that?" Because he didn't even know it existed. It was created by another executive order by President Truman, not by law. Congress didn't know about it. It's not covered under, it's not audited by the General Accounting Office. There's no auditing. It's like, wouldn't you like to have a job where somebody's going to give you $10 billion a year and say, go spend this any way you want, you don't have to be accounted for? I mean, you don't have to account for any of it? Well, that's what's happening there. That's a setup for corruption. I mean, and CIA is the same. They're not audited either. We should audit these agencies. And they say, well, they don't have anybody cleared. Well, it's easy to clear auditors, just like they clear people to work at NSA. They can clear auditors and bring them in and do the audits. That's not a problem. But they want these secret agencies. See, that's why governments, when they create these secret agencies, they can't really trust them. It's true now, the Bundestag in Germany is now finding out what the BND has been spying on and passing data about German citizens to the NSA for analysis as well. I mean, this is against German law.
You stayed there for 3 decades. Was it doing a good job at busting codes and having going at the Soviet Union?
Why shouldn't we have hated you for 30 years, Bill?
I was there because I was having a lot of fun breaking codes and ciphers and things like that and data systems, and it was a lot of fun. But it was also against the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact. It was not, which we were posing at that time, this was the Cold War, posing a threat. So I was one of the main guys, one of them anyway, on warning for nuclear threat and conflict with the Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union. So that was my job at NSA. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was actually, I felt like I was doing the proper job, trying to defend this country against potential enemies. That's what intelligence is supposed to do. Not spy on your own citizens. That's not the job of intelligence.
Was it effective then? Do you feel like you were breaking codes and doing something valuable?
Yes, but I can't tell you how well I did it. So yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was a little more effective than it sounds like it is today. Well, okay, what happened? How did it turn?
Well, you see, okay, this is the way I figured it. Okay, what I could see of internally in NSA, when the wall fell and the Soviet Union disintegrated in 1989, okay, they were sitting there, and here we had this vast empire of intelligence, right? And so who's going to be our new Cold War partner in the sense of having some opposition to target?
SAIC can't get rich if there's no enemy.
Exactly. And you can't get all these contracts, not just SAIC, there's like 15 of them, but SAIC was one of they had the inside track for that. But so we had to have a new target, a new enemy to go after. And I said, well, here's all this activity in the internet. The digital age is exploding. We're going blind. We better deal with this digital age. So we have to have, this is our new target. Okay, so now it's going to take a lot of money, and it will justify the existence on the scale that we are. There's about 35,000 people, something like that, plus worldwide installations and things that needed to be sustained, and contracts and things like that we had to keep going. So when our true enemy went away with the Cold War, we had to find a new one, and that became the digital age, the digital communications networks.
We've talked about a couple times, sort of the NSA historian, but himself was a whistleblower at NSA way back for the church. He went and testified secretly to the church community, and then went and explained to everyone who this No Such Agency was. And then in 2012, Bill did an interview with James Bamford to explain to him what the Utah Data Center was going to be. And he said that they were collecting these dossiers on people. Now, do you want to explain what the dossiers really are?
It's like if you put together everything you do electronically, and then including all the text that you send, and even the audio or translations, rough translations of the audio by machine, on the millions of phone calls of U.S. citizens, and then, or anybody on the planet, really, then it's a matter simply of indexing that data and putting it in a timeline to show all of your transactions and how throughout your life for any period of time that they have data on.
With all due respect, I would like to take issue with Mr. Binney's statement about especially about that the bulk data collection is not the way to go, and it's not effective, because Mr. Binney assumes that somehow this is done to counter terrorism, and by all indications, we should have by now come to the conclusion that's not to counter terrorism. This bulk data collection, multi-billion-dollar racket is for something else, and that something else, as anybody who is sane can tell, is about intimidation, bribery, threatening, and blackmail of everybody who is somebody, or who will be somebody, whether it's a politician, as a journalist, as somebody in the Nobel Peace Prize, if it's a head of state, anybody who could have anything that could use. So they keep that data, they collect it, and they store it.
Okay.
When comes the issue to use it, they use it against what they want to get. This is an empire. We have to run an empire internationally. That's what we do.
All right, I think we get where you're coming from. I don't know if that was a question or not. I don't know.